Akwaba, welcome to the final part of the three-part series in Obodai and the dreadful Popolopo. As usual, my name is Nee, and let's get on with it. Obodai sprinted like a hunted animal, heart slamming against his ribs. Behind him, the nameless one shrieked a sound that made the air vibrate. His feet stumbled over stones and potholes, but he didn't dare stop. Then suddenly the ground beneath his feet changed. He found himself back at the crossroads, but twisted. The streets warped. The wooden kiosks along the road bent in unnatural curves, like old memories folding into themselves. And then a figure appeared before him, Auntie Essie, but her eyes were wrong. Black pits swirling with ancient hunger. Debt must be paid, Obodai. Was it truly her, or was the Popolopo using her form? His breath caught in his throat. The Popolopo was manipulating his reality. He couldn't tell reality from fiction anymore. Behind him, the nameless figure, growing bigger with each heartbeat, its limbs cracking like dry branches, slithered forward. "Give me your name," the creature demanded, its voice overlapping with dozens of voices. Men, women, children, all merged into one. Obodai, however, kept running till he stumbled into a clearing, guided by sheer terror, and there it was. A forgotten shrine. Broken, ash-stained, symbols barely visible. The symbols carved on its stones pulse faintly with a dull crimson glow beneath layers of moss and decay, lined with spiderwebs and the dried husks of insects. Elder Kojo Odoi's words flashed back. That place is an old crossroads, the boundary between this world and the next. Without thinking, he knelt before the altar, placing the calabash before him. "I give no part of myself to you. I bring you the names of those forgotten, but I am not among them." "Then make me whole, give me your name. I no longer want to bear the title of Popolopo," the creature screamed. The guardians of the shrine, the ancient gods of the land, came to Obodai's aid. With lightning and thunder they emerged, male and female, transforming themselves into figures known to Obodai, because if they came in their true form, it would be too overwhelming for him. Obodai, upon seeing these figures emerge from the altar, was shocked because they looked like Auntie Essie and Elder Odoi. "Auntie Essie and Elder Odoi, is that you?" Obodai asked. "No, we are the guardians of this land. We don't want to scare you. That's why we took on a form you would not be scared of," the gods retorted. "Help me! The Popolopo wants to destroy me because I doubted them," Obodai cried out. "It's not just that you doubted them, Obodai. It's deeper than that. You see, it's in your blood. It was your grandfather, Numoteti, that created this mess." "What did he do?" Obodai asked. The goddess looked at Obodai with so much pity and replied, "Back in his youth, long before you were born, he was a custodian of these streets, a spiritual intermediary, our servant, a caretaker of the old paths and crossroads. But when the town began modernizing, your grandfather was afraid that these ancient spirits, these beggars, traders, kings, forgotten wanderers, would frighten the new people, ruin the progress he hoped for. And so, he did the unthinkable. He gathered their names one by one, but instead of honoring them, he performed a binding using their coins, their hard-earned money, and their names in a curse to erase them from memory, to bind them here, invisible, formless, voiceless, unable to even cross fully into the land of the dead. He took their names and their money and buried them under this town. That crossroads you chose for your frying stand, that's the very heart of the binding. They are the forgotten ones because your grandfather made them forgotten." "Why now?" Obodai asked. The goddess responded. "The curse your grandfather used, it wasn't eternal. Every generation strengthened or weakened it by either remembering or forgetting. Obodai, modern, skeptical, dismissive of old ways, you unknowingly weakened the curse by refusing belief in the supernatural. And worse, by frying and selling food right on top of the very crossroads used for their imprisonment. It was disrespect personified. The forgotten ones sensed that the seal had loosened, and your disbelief called them forth fully. Obodai stands before the crumbling altar with the calabash of water in one hand. his heart pounding in his ears. Behind him, the Nameless One and the other forgotten ones crowd the entrance, shifting like smoke, hollow eyes locked on him. They were huffing and puffing outside, but dared not enter into the shrine, because that was and is the dwelling of the ancient gods and goddesses. Now, Obodai, pour the libation. Call upon the spirit of your grandfather. It began with him, and it has to end with him. Obodai's lips tremble as he begins pouring water to the ground, whispering incantations and calling upon the spirit of his grandfather. And slowly, a new figure begins to materialize in front of Obodai, emerging from the shrine itself. Old cloth robes, bare feet, wrinkled face, eyes hollow with regret. It's his grandfather, Numotete. Obodai gasps. "Grandpa?" The lips of the ghostly figure move, but no sound comes. Only a dry gust of ancient dusty air escapes his mouth. His eyes plead silently. "You know him, don't you?" the Popolopo asked. Obodai is frozen in place, the calabash shaking violently in his hand. The Popolopo continued, "He is why we have no names. He took them from us, bound us to this cursed earth with forgotten tongues. And you." The creature points to Obodai. "You are his blood, his guilt made flesh." Obodai stares at his grandfather's ashy, sorrowful face, silent, unable to intervene, forever a prisoner of his own betrayal. "He sold our memory for peace and modernity, and now the debt comes due," the screeching voice called out from within the darkness. It raises a grotesque hand, pulsing with writhing, blackened veins. "Your name in exchange for his," it cried out. Tears brim in Obodai's eyes, not just from fear, but from betrayal, anger, and helplessness. His whole life, his family's reputation, was built on the erasure of others. Obodai clenches his fists, his knuckles whitening. Then his grandfather's ghost, struggling against unseen bonds, finally manages to lift a trembling hand pointing downward toward the 6 coins on the altar. Obodai remembers Elder Odoi's words like a whisper in his mind. After the last name, throw the coins behind you and run. The coins are important, but why, he thought. Numotete's voice comes low. You wanted the truth then? Here it is. This shrine used to be ours. All the citizens of this land came here to pour libation and pray. Numotete continues. This is where they gathered long ago. Beggars, traders, porters, crippled men, and mad women, even outcasts cast out by family and tribe. They came here to pray for remembrance, prosperity, protection, and I betrayed them here. Then Elder Odoi's form, voice like thunder now, declares, Your grandfather stood right here, boy, right here, in this very dust. He came to them promising offerings, a new market stall for their crafts, arms for the crippled, new mats for the homeless, but he lied. He couldn't fulfill his promises to them when they were alive, and in death they roamed the streets calling for accountability, because the families they left behind were not enjoying the fruits of their labors. He brought these coins, and with a priest long since dead, performed a ritual that took their names, ripped them from the tongues of their children, of their people, turned them to silence. Elder Odoi's form, lower and haunted, says, The coins you hold, they are the very payment he used in that betrayal. Cursed now, every face on them, every worn pesewa, each one is a scar. Obodai, barely audible, whispers, And now they've come for me. Numotete responds, No, they've come for recompense. And because you carry my blood, you carry my debt. The goddess then speaks, But blood can pay for blood, Obodai, and remembrance can pay for forgetting. Elder Odoi's form, in a harsh whisper, urges, Now that you know the real truth behind it, it's time to perform the ritual all over again. Say their names, pour the libation, throw the coins, give them back what was stolen. The Nameless One's voice cracks. I have told you before, I have no name. Obodai, with rising strength, asserts length. You can't have mine. And as the coins begin to slip from his fingers, one by one, the air starts to hum with both rage and relief. Obodai mentions all the names of the forgotten ones. Again, he screams the final forgotten name. Amakoko! With his whole soul, he hurls the coins backwards, straight into the face of the nameless one. The coins glow with searing heat, burning symbols of remembrance into the nameless one's spectral flesh. It lets out a guttural, echoing scream that shakes the very foundation of the shrine. Obodai's grandfather speaks one word, hoarse, choked with centuries of guilt. It is done. Then he and both the god and goddess disappear into the darkness. Summoning every ounce of courage, Obodai rose to his feet and faced the towering, grotesque creature. "I will not forget you," he said. His voice trembled but grew steadier with every word. "I will speak your story. I will tell of your hunger, your curse, your betrayal, but you will not have my name." Something shifted in the creature's face. The limbs stopped twisting. For a heartbeat, the dozens of screaming mouths were silent. Then Obodai did something unexpected. He reached into his bag and pulled out one of his fried yams, the same ones he sold every night. With trembling hands, he threw it outside before the creature, saying softly, "Eat this instead. Taste the life of the living, not the names of the lost." The creature, its many mouths, descended upon the fried yam, devouring it like wolves on a carcass. As it ate, it began to fade. Its limbs, one by one, dissolved into wisps of dust, carried away by the rising dawn wind. The first light of morning spilled over Osu. The street, once haunted and broken, now looked ordinary. But Obodai could feel the shift, deep beneath the soil and stone. He stood alone at his yam stand, trembling but alive. But just before the first customers of morning could arrive, a single whispering voice returned from the shadows. Debt never fully paid. The chill ran down his spine. The crossroads would always be there. The forgotten ones would always hunger for remembrance. But for now, he was alive. The end. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment for more stories from Afro-Mystical Stories. Love you all and take care.